What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. In today's episode, you know what it is. You clicked on the thumbnail. Start them, sit them. Week 9, people. We are here. The weeks are flying. Let's get ready. Let's get rolled up. Let's get, prepared for the playoffs. Let's get a dub this week, people. So I don't want to waste any more time. So let's get right into the episode. So first up for the stardom, I got my boy Josh Allen going against a very bad Seahawks defense against the pass. Seahawks are ranked dead last against passing yards allowed, and I definitely think this is the game that Josh Allen gets his bounce back game that we think he is due for. The last 4 weeks, he's looked very mediocre, and I think this is the game that get him back to that QB1 form. He's been looking very wishy-washy the last 4 weeks compared to his first 4 weeks. Now, the last 4 weeks, he had like 18 points, 16 points, 14 points last week. That's not something that we want to see from Josh Allen. The last 4 weeks, we've seen him throw 2 interceptions as well. We had a clean slate the first 4 weeks. So that is definitely, not something we want from Josh Allen. It's not the Josh Allen that we loved or even the guy we invested on, in the offseason for draft. So I definitely think, this is the game where he can bounce back, be QB1 relevant, and this is the refreshing as a Josh Allen owner myself to be like, yes, he can help me, get a win this week, because him putting up 14 points last week didn't really help me, being that I lost, only by a couple points. So it's like, man, if you would have put up way more points than that you did and it wasn't mediocre, I would have came out with a dub last week. So this is the week where we plug and play, book and buy it. Josh Allen against the Seahawks. Next up, I got a dual running back group that I think is a nice plug and play this week. Lindsay and Melvin Gordon going against Atlanta. So I like these two being, the split carries, split roles. I think they actually get into the groove of who's who. I think Lindsay's the pure runner that gets you all the yardage, and I think Gordon's the guy that can give you some yardage, but he's getting most of those targets out of the backfield. So it looks like the roles are split where Lindsay's the pure runner and Melvin Gordon is the pass catcher, which I'm okay with, because the last 3 games, with Melvin Gordon now against New England, dealing with the, DUI or whatever the case may be, he didn't see any targets at all out of the backfield. He just was running. You know what I mean? So these last 3 games, he's only seen 3 targets. Now, Gordon, on the other hand, had 11 targets in the last 3 games, which is something we need to note, that it's kind of like, all right, the roles are being split and the roles are being, taught. And it's kind of like, I'm okay with that. I can start Melvin Gordon in the PPR league and hope that he sees 7 targets out of the backfield and maybe has a reception touchdown or even a rushing touchdown, because I think the goal line duty is still, Gordon's job. I think Lindsay's just a pure runner where he's going to get you a lot of yards and maybe he pops off for a 56-yard touchdown. Hey, I'm okay with that. That's why I'm giving you the knowledge, the tools, the resources, and a plug and play to book it and buy it to start Lindsay and Melvin Gordon against Atlanta this week. Next up, I got James Robinson going against the Houston Texans, who are 31st against running backs in PPR formats. Houston Texans still can't stop the run, people, and I definitely like James Robinson in this game. I definitely think that he could put up big numbers like he did last week. He was showing he can get the job done through the air. He can get the job done on the ground. I definitely like having a running back that can do both, and nobody's really behind him, giving him trouble for competition for touches. So it's the James Robinson show. So I definitely like this matchup going against Houston. I'm not really worried about the QB chains with Minshew dealing with a thumb injury, even though we knew he was going to be benched. Because 2 weeks ago, they were talking about a QB change and then the bye week, and then boom. Here we are with a QB change possibly going on. But it is what it is. I don't think that interrupts anything of James Robinson's word. I don't even think that hurts his production of anything, really. It's really up to the wide receivers, you know what I mean, that really get hurt or they get improved. So we shall see. But either way, I don't think it's hard for me to go out there, suit up as a Jaguar starting quarterback and check the ball down to James Robinson about 8-9 times. I don't think that's not that hard. You know what I mean? I think you could do it, but that's where we're at with it. But this week, James Robinson, book it, buy it, bring home the gold, people. So let's jump into the sit-em. First up, I got Leonard Fournette going against the Saints. I do not like this matchup for the simple fact last week we saw Leonard Fournette struggle against the Giants. Maybe it was more so the O-line not being in sync, or maybe it was just Fournette just not being as good as we thought. He only put up 10 points, and he's still splitting with Ronald Jones. So that's definitely a factor I don't like going into this week, into this matchup going against the Saints. So there's that. I mean, he had just as many targets out of the backfield, and he had way more rushing attempts than he had last game against the Giants, but he struggled. So it doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? Why he's struggling against the Giants. I understand that he's splitting roles with Ronald Jones, but Ronald Jones only got really benched because he had a bad fumble. You know what I mean? That it happens to the best of us. But Ronald Jones I don't even know what to tell owners. I don't even know why they didn't sell him while he was going on that little small period of 100-yard rushing spree, but it is what it is. But Fournette against the Saints this week, I'm not liking that at all. I expect Brady to air the ball out more so than them running the ball, because honestly, the Saints have never been a defense where you could just run all over them. You know what I mean? And plus, it's a division game, people. It can get real ugly. So Fournette, you get the bench this week. Next up, free my boy Jonathan Taylor. Free JT, man. This week he has the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not liking the matchup. Also not liking him coming up on the injury report, dealing with an ankle injury that could have been possibly why we've seen too much of Jordan Wilkins and too much of Nyheim Hines. And it's been like this for the whole season, honestly. I mean, we all been deceived with Marlon Mack going down with injury. We thought it was JT season. People were taking victory laps. Some of us were very happy that we got him in the fourth, third round, et cetera. We kind of reached kind of high to get Jonathan Taylor. But it's like, damn, man, we got a Joe Wilkins and now Hines. Hines going off last week, even Wilkins finding a way to get in the end zone. And it's like, we just want Jonathan Taylor to get max touches. That's exactly what we drafted him for, behind that great O-line and Phillip Rivers as a veteran quarterback. You know what I mean? And it's not working out. It's not panning out to be what we really want for Jonathan Taylor. Don't get me wrong. There's weeks where he's giving us solid RB2 numbers, but we kind of invested in him to be the RB1 of that team and give us RB1 numbers when it comes week to week. But that's not what we're getting. Now we're facing the Baltimore Ravens this week. I definitely don't like the matchup. I definitely think Baltimore outside of that division is definitely still a tough stud defense that can stop the run, that will pounce all over Jonathan Taylor with a bummed up ankle, people. That's what's really holding me back from putting him in my starting lineup this week, is that ankle injury. We don't know how serious it is. They might wave it off and be like, yo, he's good to play. But that still bothers me that you still have Nyheim Hines and then Jordan Wilkins getting in there involved a little too much. That snap count opportunity, it's getting really wishy-washy with Jonathan Taylor when we want max touches from him. So, sorry, JT, you get the bench this week. Next up, man, can't believe I'm putting him in my start him sit him video. He's actually going to play. Michael Thomas, people. He is getting the bench this week for the simple fact he's coming back from injuries, going against the Bucs that are a top 10, team against wide receivers. And I definitely don't think they're going to play him soft. They're going to go out there. They're going to hit him. They're going to hit him hard. And he's coming off a high ankle sprain. And I definitely think it's some behind the scenes shit going on as well. I don't think he's interested in playing for the Saints anymore. I definitely think, I wouldn't be surprised they say he's out this week for some unknown reason, or if he's suspended for punching another play. I don't know, man. I'm just not really looking forward to Michael Thomas playing football for the rest of the season. And if he does, hey, cool. You're not seeing my lineup this week, buddy, because we have to remember, before he caught that ankle injury in the fourth quarter, he only put up 4 points, people. 4 points on 3 targets. That's not something that I'm sitting low with a guy that just had off-season beef with his QB1. Drew Brees. So I'm definitely not feeling this whole animosity against his staff and fighting players and etc. I really thought he was going to be traded. So again, this is what I tell you guys, the Wolfpack, people that are watching us that are new to the channel. Michael Thomas should not be in your starting lineups. One more week without him won't hurt you, but starting him can hurt you. He can cost you your week. He could end up putting up 4 to 7 points or 7 to 10 points. Are you really happy with that? You know what I mean? For a guy you invested in the first round with and hasn't played it down in 8 weeks, I can go one more week without Michael Thomas. I need to see him knock the rust off, get into full speed, to get back into that PPR, God mode where he's catching everything that's thrown to him, 4-yard slants, whatever it is. I need to see him produce at a high level as a wide receiver 1. I'm not settling for anything under wide receiver 1, being that I invested so high in him in the first round. So again, if he blows up on my bench, hey, good for you. You've been basically on my bench for 8 weeks. I can go another week without you if you blow up or you're not. I'm going to play it safe this week with sitting Michael Thomas. I don't need to be burned and having the hopes, having, the excitement of like, yeah, he's back to playing football. He can be in my starting lineup. I needed you. I'm 4-4 right now, or, my record is shit right now. Only won 2 games. So I'm 2-6. You know what I mean? I'm just hands off with Michael Thomas, and hopefully you are too. Hopefully you could just pump the brakes / sit him for sure. You know what I mean? I'm not liking the matchup at all. And just grab some popcorn and watch the show, people, because Michael Thomas, you get the bench this week. So I want to thank you guys for clicking on the video, watching, and get the information, having the resources to get a dub this week. I want you guys to leave a comment below on what you guys think of the episode. Even leave your stardom cinema questions below, and I get to them as quickly as possible. Notifications are on this week, so therefore I'll see them, pop them up, swipe them, reply back, and then boom. Hopefully you get a dub with this information. So I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.